I saved this topic with the last topic because it is very similar. The only real difference is now we're going to be dealing with exponents, with powers in the same problems we just got done doing. So the example that I have here is basically I took the lights thought that we have here in this room. You all know that if you get further away from the light, it's not as bright. So I thought, what would happen if we took the lights from this classroom and put them in the gym? So I took a tape measure and I measured, and then these lights are about 5 feet, give or take, from your desktop. And I thought, well, the gym's about 30 feet tall, and what would happen to the lights? So that's where this example came from. What you don't know is that the intensity of the light varies inversely. So the greater the distance, the smaller or the less the intensity. All right, varies inversely. But now it's with the square of the distance. Okay, so we just got to add a tiny little step to what we've been doing before. So we've got a light that's 600 lumens. I'm sure these are 800 lumens. I've been messing around with LED lights. You know, they're on sale at Menards right now, and the electric company will give you rebates if you're switching to LEDs. So, but I had the problem all written up, and so I decided to just leave it alone. So, but your lights are these are probably more like 800 lumens, but that just measures the brightness of the light. So again, what are the things that we're measuring? Well, we are measuring lumens and feet. So I set up my table down here with the distance on the bottom and the distance and the lumens. So at 5 feet, it was 600 lumens, and at 30 feet, and I'm not sure I totally have this right because lumens might, well, whatever. We're just going to go with it. Um, and what's going to happen? Well, you can probably figure this out in your head. What do you do to a 5 to get a 30? Well, you're going to wind up multiplying by 6. Well, you guys have to, again, just take a step back and just think for a second and go, wait a minute. If I go from 5 feet to 30 feet, what's going to happen to the brightness of that light? Well, you know it's going to have to go down. So if the left side was multiplied, that means the right side is going to have to be divided. But wait. It says inversely as the square. So it's not just divided by 6, it's divided by 6 squared. So you go over to your calculator, you take 600 and divide it by 6 squared. So the answer would be 16.6 repeating. So just imagine, I mean, just kind of look around right now and think about, roughly how bright this room is. If you went from this, which is 6 or 800 lumens, down to 16 lumens, it's like you wouldn't hardly even have any lights on. So who has to worry about this kind of thing? Well, obviously electricians, when they're installing the lights, they have to make sure that they get the right amount of brightness on the lights. And the other people would be like your interior designers, making sure that they're picking out light fixtures that put out enough light. And if you have a vaulted ceiling, or is it a 9-foot ceiling or an 8-foot ceiling, or in the gym or something like that. So you just need to have that little bit of knowledge in order to set something like this up. The other trade that needs to know this is your HVAC folks, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. When they're setting up things like air conditioners and they're setting up things like heaters, you have to know how far the heat source is from the ceiling, or how far the heat source is from the floor, so that you get enough heat where you need it. You know, if there's heat on the left wall and not heat on the right wall, you have to make sure that it's warm enough on the left wall that heat will transfer all the way to the other wall. So we're going to have some examples. I'm not too keen on these kinds of examples just because, there's no real context to it. There's no real story. There's not a lot of great trades that have to worry about this. I'd say probably when you're dealing with cubes, though, it's going to be groups like cubic meters of concrete, not cubic meters, cubic yards of concrete or cubic yards of dirt. So your landscape designers and your concrete laborers and those kinds of things are going to be dealing in cubic yards. HVAC as well. I think there's a standard where you have to have a certain amount of cubic feet per minute. In a room this size, they have to be able to change all the air out. So they have to put fresh air in and pull all the air in and all the air out in about the course of an hour in order to keep the air fresh so that you guys don't have your own sucking on your own gases a little bit here. So here we go. Y varies directly as the cube. All right. So again, set up your XY table and fill in the values you know. So you have to take a look at this and say, what do I do to a 5 to get a 3? Well, this one's a little bit different. You're going to take your calculator and divide that out. It's 5 divided by 3 is 1.6. But when I'm going from a 5 to a 3, I'm actually going down. So what do I do with a 5 and a 1.6? Well, I'm actually going to divide by 1.6. All right. Now this one says directly. Oops. This one says directly. So on this side, if the left side went down, what's going to happen to the right side when it says varies directly? Well, that one's going to have to go down as well. So that's going to be divided by 1.6. But wait, it's not just a plain 1.6. It's going to wind up being 1.6 cubed. So you're going to take your 5 divided by 3. That was where our 1.6 came from. Sorry, let me get that out of the way. And then we were going to take that second number. What was that second number? Which was a 7. And you're going to take 7 divided by, and then go up and capture that, 1.6. And over here is the exponent button, right here on the left, 1.6 to the third power. So just to recap, it's very similar to what we did on the first video. Well, when we were talking about inverses, it's almost best to set up that table and figure out the scale factor. And when you have powers. So set up your table, and whatever happens on the left side, if it's going to be inverse, if this side goes up like a times 6, this one's going to go divided by 6. But you got to go back and reread the question and see if it has any sort of a power. Sorry, hold on. Any sort of a power, like a square. So it's not just a plain divided by 6, it's divided by 6 squared. Or on this example, this one I said direct. So if this one gets divided, the other side's going to get divided. But you got to go back and take a look and say, come on, there we go. Is it going to be squared or cubed? So we have a worksheet that goes with this problem as well. Good luck. We'll pick up the pieces tomorrow when I get back.